Okay, Mike Hickman here with Ryan Hildebrant, our Chief Technology Officer. Wow, our CTO.
Wow.
That's a
Wow.
big title.
Yes.
Now we have some fun with that.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in the middle of Ryan's magical room. Sitting here, yeah, laugh. All of Ryan's toys are everywhere in here. The soundproofing in our podcast room, the cameras. The only thing we don't have, Ryan, I'm surprised, is the camera that moves when we move. But you have one of those.
I bought an iPad that does that. Yeah.
You
it's
bought an
kind of
iPad that does that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was an iPad that does that.
There's a new iPad that does
Really?
that. Yes.
Oh
yeah.
my
The new
gosh.
iPad Mini of all the iPads has a
Really?
camera that does that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's fun.
That's pretty
Haven't
cool.
decided if I like it yet. It kind of pans
Okay.
all over the place.
What
and
else is out
if your
there,
kid
man?
walks into the room while you're on a thing, it goes ahead and zooms out and shows your kid to everybody. But
Oh my gosh.
but there's all kinds of fun stuff coming out.
Tell me
coming out
some
all the
more.
time.
Like,
Oh, geez, I think it's interesting to watch as this new stuff comes out, because I'm sure everybody's heard that Apple is probably going to be making a play for AR, for augmented reality. I think that's going to be a big play. What that looks like, I don't know. Everybody's guessing it's probably be goggles or whatever, but it's been very interesting to watch them lay the layers, because it's not just, glasses or goggles or whatever that is one layer of that. I think what they've been doing with voice, with Siri, what they've been doing with the phones, with the cameras, I think with Face ID on your phone and all that stuff where it's recognizing your
coming
face,
together.
voice recognition. I think it's all starting to come together in the last software update. If you have a newer iPhone, all the voice processing, like when you ask Siri something, all that voice processing is happening on your phone now. It's not. It doesn't have to go to the cloud to be processed. So I think all of that is a kind of a collection. This is all working towards making AR more possible and making AR, because what I believe for AR is that there will be all these different layers and there will be some really cool tech. But I think that in 20 years, just like we didn't know what smartphones were going to do to all of us 20 years ago when they first started appearing, I think that you will actually start. I think what I would hope to see is that the technology that's right in front of you, the in-your-faceness of technology, will start to recede, and it will just be there. I think that's where I think that's where we're headed. Where Siri, Alexa, whoever, that's always present. We're kind of already there with the voice kind of stuff, but I think that whatever it is, glasses or whatever, and this device that we all carry in our pocket will be the core of that. Will be kind of the processing, the nerve center of all that. Your watch, the watch is already tied to your phone, right? And look at how much more data that gives you, and puts at your fingertips via your phone. So I think that a lot will be there, and a lot of that will be tied to you, so that wherever you are, even AirPods, it's like, think about that. That's another layer on augmented reality, because those are always tied to your phone. You always have Siri in your ear. So whatever
I remember the first time I bought the Pro iPods, my gosh, I was listening to an book audible, and all of a sudden it broke in email from, and it started reading the email to me. I didn't know that was on here. Crazy, right?
Yeah. So whatever that ends up being, it's like whatever the vision part of that ends up being. That's why I think it'll probably be a little bit different than, because Apple thinks a little bit different. But I think that Facebook now is thinking a little bit different too, and what that looks like, and it'll be different. Metaverse, or Meta. I'm sorry, they're not.
Meta, I'm sorry.
They're not Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
What will be in the metaverse, we don't know, but it will. It's kind of an exciting time to see where all of that goes.
Exciting. I wonder how many of us out there don't even understand what that means. Exciting time.
Well, we didn't know either. It's like we probably don't. We didn't know what was going to come when the iPhone was released. You're like, oh, great,
Here's
it's another phone.
Know,
it's a PDA.
Apple became the first
$3 trillion company.
$3 trillion valued company in the world. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's amazing, isn't it?
It's pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible what Steve Jobs and now Tim Cook have done.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
So
let's take that now and distill it down a little bit. Let's go back to real estate, boring real
Yeah.
estate, come on, and talk about technology and real estate, and even AR. AI, something, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever it is, AW.
Artificial and augmented, yeah.
Artificial whatever, AW, that's what I call it.
I mean,
What do
just
you do with AR?
wait. Well, I think looking at AR, looking at where things are, for me, what stands out in that, especially in like for consumers and for real estate, I think is that certainly there will be the things that we've already seen with AR, where you can virtually stage a house and you can do this stuff and you can stand in front of a house and see all the details about it. But I think what it will enable more, I think, is contextual. There'll be more contextual cues that make things easier. For instance, you know, I'm standing in front of a house. I'm looking at that. Well, my phone's tied to my bank accounts, knows everything about me. Can I get a pre-approval looking at a house for sale, standing in front of the house for sale with my phone? It knows I'm there. It knows what my bank accounts are, perhaps whoever the preferred lender is on that house, or standing at the sign. Could I get pre-approval just by standing there and say, yes, I grant this information to be accessed? Can you give me a 30-second pre-approval? Something like that.
That would be remarkable, wouldn't
Wouldn't
it?
that be remarkable?
That's my quest this year. That's my focus this year.
I know.
2022.
I
Build
think
a better transaction.
build a better transaction. I think
Get rid of
all
friction.
the pieces are probably starting to get there. It's just you have to convince the rest of get somebody to go there, because it's like, yeah, I'm logged into Chase Bank on my phone. I'm logged into every credit card I have on my phone. They know everything about, all about that. Why can't I just, when I'm standing there, be like, oh, you're standing in front of this home. This is what your payment would be.
Right.
I don't, yes, I'm an Apple geek, and I don't like to say that, but it's just like, I got an Apple card, and one of the things that I just keep looking at that is the simplicity of that interface. And, it's just like, I want to make a card payment. It's just so easy. I pull up my phone. It's like, I want to make a card payment. And it's just a little, and it shows me. I pay off my credit card every month. But for somebody that didn't, it's like all the cues are there. It's like, okay, if you pay this much, it's going to take you this long to pay off your balance. If you do this, it's going to, it's like, it means you're going to pay this much in interest this month because you're not paying off the full balance. It's all clear. It's all straightforward. And it's just right there in front of you. So all the tools are available for the people that are there. And I think that's where I see AR, and I see contextual, and I see all this just making things easier and frictionless for people, I hope.
See, I see a lot of companies in the real estate industry building what they call an end-to-end system. I think they're missing the point big time. People that are consumers don't care about an end-to-end system.
Yeah.
It's something that companies can promote as a broker or spend money on and have software engineers working on. I think what people want is a frictionless transaction. They want to be approved for a loan within 24 to 48 hours, no matter if it's 1099 person or a W-2 employee. They want banks to do better and lenders to do better, and they want us in the real estate industry to be better.
Yeah.
They want us to be more educated, want us to be more have more expertise, pardon me. They want us to have more expertise at what we do. They want a transaction where buyer and seller aren't afraid to meet one another because they don't trust one another.
Right.
Right? That sort of thing. And we have to do a better job at that. And right now our industry, I feel, is stagnant. And to build something end-to-end, I'm having trouble making sense out of that because people are spending millions of dollars in a race to that.
Yeah. Well, I think end-to-end helps us on our side of it, certainly. It makes that easier, but I don't think the consumer, if you're making a frictionless system, the consumer doesn't care.
Exactly.
Because if it's contextual and it's easy and presents the right information to them, they don't really even know if it's an end-to-end.
They will not. They will never know. Because if there's two components to higher economics, one is purpose and one is transactions. I'll get the transactions. They're going to have the transactions no matter what. But I think their purpose is off over here. I think their purpose is in creating an end-to-end so that they can brag about it in the industry versus purpose for the consumer. They're going to make their agents their life a little easier. But in the end, that won't help the consumer, and that will not attract consumers to them at all. But what will attract consumers is I think the ease by which they can acquire a loan, buy a house. And that's without NFTs or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right. We're not even.
We're not even we're not even down to that layer yet.
We're not. That's a whole other thing later this year, by the way. That's on
Okay.
our agenda, NFTs and things like that. So we got to be prepared for that and get out in front of that. And that's one of our main drivers this year. So anyway, back to where we were. AR. I always thought about AR in real estate being something where somebody puts on some glasses. That's how unsophisticated I am, right?
Yeah.
And there's a processor built in and everything, and they can actually, somebody can send them a home. They can look at the home in 3D through their glasses, take a walk through, open cabinets, close cabinets, open the closet doors, all of those things, much like an Oculus does now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I have a couple of those for grandkids at home.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of
The VR component and
fun
that
to play
visual
with.
component. I think that will come. I just think that's part of it, right? It's like see
Yeah.
inside this house. I don't know. I look at AR and I think bigger, like we're truly augmenting reality, not just,
Yeah, see,
we're
I
not
don't think
just a
that
VR.
big about it yet. I'm trying to get it.
Yeah,
I get it, though. I see what
yeah.
you're saying.
But I do think that those, like the visual, the VR aspect that's coming. I don't know that, I think we're still everybody's trying to find that balance and try to find what will work the best.
Amazing.
The best, I think. And I think there'll be some stumbling. There was some stumbling, if you think about it, there was some stumbling with smartphones.
Sure.
Until we got there. But I think it will start to all become apparent. And I think, I don't know. My belief, like I said, is I think it will all, the way all this ties together will be the next big in 20 years. We look back and be like, wow, it's like I can walk, whatever Alexa or whatever Siri I walk up to knows who I am and like knows access to my calendar, knows all of that.
Right.
There's some things.
Like near field communications, NFCs even.
Yeah.
When you walk by someone, you can get all their social information, everything, right?
Well, I just read an article about an interview with an engineer who they were working on headphones. They're talking about headphones, but there's a big push to make a new, because Wi-Fi and cellular are too unreliable, Bluetooth's too slow. So there's a big push for somebody to make a new short range radio to be able to communicate this data securely and quickly, because Bluetooth is very slow. This article, they were talking about it because they wanted to do higher quality audio for like AirPods and headphones, because Bluetooth, the data rate of it just isn't good enough to do like the super high quality audio, the lossless audio that everybody wants. So there's a couple different companies out there that are starting to talk about how do we make a short range, but of course that evolved into, it's like if you make it secure enough, can you then exchange information with a kiosk anywhere? That would enable, like, you walk up to that kiosk with your phone. It's like, okay, can we connect to your bank information in your phone? Oh yeah, sure, we can get you a pre-approval.
Yeah.
You're just doing that, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Very
that's
interesting. Well, let's go back to real estate for a minute.
Sure.
I
know. We could wander, yeah.
We could go on forever
Yeah.
about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me. But going back to real estate, so I'll ask you the question I've asked so many other people when I interview them or talk with them in a podcast is, let's pretend for a minute it's it's January 4th, 2023. 23. So now we're looking in the rearview mirror at the year we're currently in at 2022. So 2022, rearview mirror, what changed in real estate?
And from a technology
From a
standpoint,
technology standpoint.
I think a lot of the things that we're starting to look at right now will come to fruition. I think you'll see a lot more AI. I think we'll start to see more companies pop up that are doing a lot more data analytics, doing a lot more deep learning into data. What that looks like and how that comes to fruition, we'll see. But I mean, it's just like, that is where, especially after the market we've had, finding listings might get challenging. So looking more at human behavior, I think, will be a big part of that. I think we'll probably see, I just have a feeling we're going to have somebody out there that's going to mainstream cryptocurrency transactions with home sales. I don't know, again, what that looks like. And then also with blockchain, stepping around a title company or a title company figuring out how to use blockchain and NFT.
They'll have to come to the table.
They have, yeah.
They're going to have to, Ryan, with
Yeah.
cryptocurrency and blockchain.
Yeah, I think
On both of them.
because I don't know. There's there's a lot of question marks with NFTs, what they are right now. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people listening are probably like, you mean those weird icon thing? Either don't know what it is or they think they're buying digital art,
Yeah.
but they don't know the underpinning of it and the underpinning of it. So there's a lot of question marks. It's just kind of like, but so who's going to be the first one that steps up and creates a blockchain specifically for real estate transactions?
Well,
I think that's,
somebody will become iconic for doing that.
yeah,
And so you never know. It could be us.
could
You never
be.
know. But we're not going to
Never
let
know.
that out on a podcast. That's our secret weapon coming this year,
There you
right?
go.
I'm sorry. Maybe coming in the future.
Future, yeah.
There we go. That's interesting. Very interesting. So we'll see how that works out.
Plays out.
So I think 2022 will be that year of substantive change in our industry. I think it's going to be that biggest year ever in real estate in terms of change. Last year was the biggest year in terms of the dollars that flew, that flow. Last year was the biggest change in terms of dollars that came into the real estate industry. And this year, I think, will be the biggest year of change. That's where those dollars start to affect the change and create it now this year after we've been working on it, including the things that we're working on with AI and some of the other things, NFTs, et cetera. So it's very interesting. What do you see the office of the future like?
What do I see the office of the
Yeah.
future like? Real estate office?
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
real estate office. I think we're partway there with some of our models. It's just, something where you can come in and you can work when you want. You can connect, work, but it's not it's not a place for a traditional desk. It's you can make a desk there if you want, but it's more. It's more contextual. It's
kind of a resource center.
It's a resource center, yeah.
There we
I was
go.
going to say a resource center,
Yeah.
maybe, something that's a little bit more contextual. What do you need to be there for? Is there a conference room to meet with clients? Yes. Are the resources there for, all those resources for you? Do you need to come in, make some copies? Man, maybe we'll start to go more paperless in 2022. I don't know.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
That be amazing? Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that works out because I'm with you. I think, and as you know, that's one of our key initiatives, our resource centers all over Orange County. So, I just let that one out of the bag, didn't I? But that's okay. It's coming, coming sooner than everybody thinks to Seven Gables. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Okay.
Really am.
Yeah.
What else would you like to add, Ryan?
I
What
just
would you like
think
to close
looking,
out with?
I don't know. I just
Words
think
of advice
looking
to
forward.
everybody.
Words of advice, I think, is, I think everybody, with the pandemic and everything, one thing that we've learned is that, you can never be too careful with security. So that's something that I personally am looking at more for the new year is how can we be more secure, as a company and the transactions and stuff like that, to remind agents that agents are the target of a lot of, like phishing and scams and stuff like that, just because they're the one that's connected to both the client and people like escrow, title, and stuff like that. And while they may not be while the agent may not be the target of the scammers, they're the way that they get into your information. They can wiggle their way into impersonating an escrow officer and impersonating a client to an escrow company or something like that. So I think that that's important, and to just, think about that, for everybody that still uses a personal email address and that kind of stuff.
How about
be
the
thinking about
AOL accounts?
the AOL
I still
accounts.
use AOL. Oh my gosh, in this
Yeah,
industry.
the Yahoo.com
The
accounts and
Yahoo.coms,
stuff like that.
yes.
Well, even like a personal Gmail account is not as secure
Right.
as like a G Suite or something like that.
Yeah,
So
like we have.
yeah, so or even like an Outlook. So it's just be thinking about that if you're still doing those types of still utilizing those types of services. And you want to come talk to us about how to make something that's a little bit more secure, make sure that your account is secure and less susceptible to those kinds of things, that we're here to help you with that.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate your time today, Ryan.
Yeah.
Very informative. Really do. Thanks.
Okay.